The rain hammered against the window like it was trying to break in, mirroring the storm inside me as I stared at the faded photo on my nightstand. Two boys, arms slung around each other, grinning like the world was theirs. That was us, 15 years ago, before the words we couldn't take back shattered everything. And now, on the night I was supposed to marry someone else, a knock echoed through my empty apartment, pulling me back to the ghost I'd buried deep. I froze, my heart slamming against my ribs as if it recognized the rhythm before I did. The clock on the wall ticked past midnight, and who the hell knocks at midnight on your wedding eve? Wiping my eyes with the back of my hand, I shuffled to the door in my rumpled pajamas, the kind that smelled faintly of takeout and regret. When I swung it open, there he was, Ethan, soaked to the bone, his dark hair plastered to his forehead, those hazel eyes locking onto mine with an intensity that stole my breath. "Alex," he whispered, voice cracking like thunder in the distance. "I couldn't let you do this. Not without knowing." I never stopped. My knees buckled, and I gripped the doorframe to keep from collapsing. Ethan Hale, the boy who'd been my everything, best friend, confidant, the first person I'd ever whispered my secrets to in the dark, standing there like a memory ripped from the pages of my life. We'd grown up in the sleepy town of Willow Creek, Ohio, where cornfields stretched like golden oceans under endless blue skies, and high school hallways buzzed with the kind of small-town drama that felt monumental at 17. Back then, Ethan was the golden boy, star quarterback, easy smile that lit up rooms, the guy everyone wanted to be or be with. And me? Alex Rivera, the quiet artist kid with paint under my nails and dreams too big for our zip code. We were opposites, but that pull between us was magnetic, unspoken, the kind of bond that made teachers roll their eyes and friends tease us about being joined at the hip. Our friendship started in freshman year, over a shared hatred for Mr. Hargrove's algebra class. I'd been doodling in the margins of my notebook, a sketch of the football field at dusk, players blurred into shadows, when Ethan slid into the seat next to me, late as usual, flashing that grin. "What's that? You drawing me scoring the winning touchdown?" He'd joked, peering over without asking. I flushed, shoving the notebook away, but he just laughed, low and warm, like he'd already decided we were in this together. From that day, it was us against the world, late-night drives in his beat-up Chevy to the edge of town, where we'd park under the stars and talk about escaping to New York or LA, places where we could be whoever we wanted without the weight of expectations. But Willow Creek wasn't kind to dreams like that, especially not for two boys who shared secrets too intimate for straight-laced Ohio. I came out first, in a trembling confession during our junior year sleepover, sprawled on his bedroom floor with pizza boxes scattered around us. "Ethan, I think I'm gay," I'd said, staring at the ceiling fan whirring lazily above, terrified he'd bolt. He didn't. He rolled onto his side, propped on an elbow, and looked at me with those eyes that saw right through. "Good," he murmured, reaching out to squeeze my hand. "Because I think I am too." The air thickened, charged with possibility, and for a heartbeat, I thought maybe, just maybe, this was more than friendship. Our fingers lingered, palms pressing together, and in that silence, I felt seen, truly seen, for the first time. We didn't label it then. We couldn't. Willow Creek had its share of whispers. Old Mrs. Jenkins clutching her pearls at the sight of two boys too close. The football coach pulling Ethan aside after practice with advice about staying focused. So we hid, in plain sight. High fives that lasted a second too long. Inside jokes that made us burst into laughter at nothing. Summers were our sanctuary, biking to the quarry lake where we'd strip down to swim trunks and dive into the cool water, bodies brushing underwater in accidental on-purpose ways that left me dizzy. One evening, as the sun dipped low, painting the sky in pinks and oranges, Ethan surfaced beside me, water streaming down his face. "Race you to the dock," he challenged, but instead of swimming away, he splashed me, our laughter echoing off the rocks. We ended up floating side by side, shoulders touching, and he said, "Promise me we'll always have this, Alex. No matter what." I promised, my voice barely above the lapping waves, believing it with every fiber of my 17-year-old heart. High school blurred into a haze of stolen moments and growing fears. Ethan got scouted by colleges, his future bright as the stadium lights, while I buried myself in art scholarships, sketching him in secret, his profile against the bleachers, the curve of his smile. But the pressure mounted. His dad, a stern factory foreman with a Bible on the nightstand, started dropping hints about real men and family legacy. My mom, a single nurse working double shifts, just hugged me tighter, whispering, "Be careful, Mijo. This town's not ready." And then came the party, the one that unraveled us. It was senior prom after party at Jake Harlan's place, bass thumping through the walls, red Solo cups everywhere. Ethan and I had snuck off to the backyard, away from the crowd, sharing a stolen beer under the string lights. The alcohol loosened our tongues, and before I knew it, I was leaning in, heart pounding, brushing my lips against his in a kiss that tasted like cherry lip balm and desperation. He kissed back, fierce, hungry, his hands fisting in my shirt, and for 30 glorious seconds, the world narrowed to us. Then headlights swept the yard, Jake's older brother stumbling out for a smoke. We jerked apart, but it was too late. Whispers started the next day. "Did you see Rivera and Hale? Freaks." The fallout was swift. Ethan pulled away first, avoiding my eyes in the halls, skipping our drives. "It's just," my dad found out. He muttered one afternoon by my locker, voice hollow. He said if I don't straighten up, no college, no nothing. Hurt twisted into anger, and I lashed out. "So that's it? One rumor, and you bail? After everything?" He flinched, whispering, "I'm sorry, Alex. I can't lose it all." But the damage was done. Rumors snowballed into slurs scrawled on my locker, "Fag artist," and Ethan's throws grew erratic, his smiles forced. Our friendship, that unbreakable thing, frayed thread by thread until prom night, when he cornered me in the parking lot, rain pouring down like judgment. "I can't do this anymore," he said, voice breaking. "Us. It's ruining everything." Tears mixed with rain on my face as I begged, "Ethan, please." But he turned, walking into the storm, leaving me shattered on the asphalt. Graduation came and went. He went to Ohio State on a full ride. I scraped by to community college in Columbus, then transferred to Pratt in Brooklyn on a partial scholarship. Letters I wrote went unanswered, calls to voicemail. Years blurred. I built a life in New York, freelance illustrating for indie mags, dating guys who were safe, uncomplicated. Ethan? Social media scraps showed him thriving, pro scout, then agent in Chicago, always with a girl on his arm, the picture of straight success. And now, here he was, dripping on my threshold, unraveling 10 years of careful reconstruction. "What are you doing here?" I managed, voice raw. He stepped closer, the scent of rain, and that same cologne hitting me like a wave. I saw the save the date. From Sarah. "Alex, you're making a mistake." We both did. His hand trembled as he reached for mine, and against every screaming instinct, I let him. The door clicked shut behind us, sealing out the world, but inviting the past right back in. The apartment felt smaller with him in it, walls closing in as I led Ethan to the kitchen, flipping on the light to chase away shadows that felt too much like ghosts. Water pooled at his feet on the linoleum, and I grabbed a towel from the drawer, thrusting it at him without meeting his eyes. "Dry off before you flood the place," I said, sharper than intended. He took it, but instead of using it, he just held it, staring at me like I was a puzzle he couldn't solve. "Alex, I drove all night. From Chicago. I had to see you." I busied myself with the coffee maker, grounds spilling over my fingers as memories clawed their way up. Nights we'd spent in this very pose, him at my counter in our old apartment, me pretending not to notice how his laugh lines crinkled just so. But that was a lifetime ago, before the chasm. "It's late, Ethan. Tomorrow's big." Sarah's face flashed in my mind. Kind eyes, steady hand in mine at the engagement party, the woman who'd patiently pieced together my broken edges without asking too many questions about the cracks. He leaned against the counter, towel forgotten. "Big how? Marrying someone who doesn't know you? Not the real you." The word stung, laced with that old possessiveness, and I whirled, coffee scoop clattering. "You don't get to show up and play hero. You left, remember? Chose your future over." I stopped, throat tight. "Over us." He winced, rubbing his neck, the gesture so familiar it hurt. "I was scared, okay? Dad had me by the throat, threatened to cut me off, Tell everyone. I thought if I pushed you away, it'd hurt less. For both of us. Less. I laughed, bitter, pouring water that sloshed over the rim. You vanished, Ethan. No calls, no nothing. I spent years thinking I was some dirty secret you regretted. The machine gurgled to life, filling the silence with its hiss. He stepped closer, close enough I could see the stubble shadowing his jaw, the faint scar above his eyebrow from that dumb bike crash in 8th grade. You were never a secret. You were everything. That's why it terrified me. His voice dropped, raw. I loved you, Alex. Still do. That's why I couldn't watch you walk down that aisle. The confession hung there, heavier than the steam rising from the mugs I slammed down. Loved. Present tense. My pulse thundered, a traitorous warmth blooming in my chest despite the anger. I wanted to shove him out, lock the door on this madness, but my feet wouldn't move. Instead, I slid a mug toward him, black, just how he liked. Sit. Talk. But if this is some midlife crisis bullshit, I'm calling security. We settled at the tiny table, knees brushing under it, a spark that made me shift away. He sipped, wincing at the heat, then launched in, words tumbling like they'd been dammed up for years. College was hell, he said, parties where he'd drink to forget, dates with girls that felt like dress rehearsals for a life he didn't want. I came out to my roommate's sophomore year, after a fight with my dad over Thanksgiving. He disowned me on the spot, said I was no son of his. His fingers tightened around the mug. I crashed on couches, barely made practices. But every low, I'd think of you. Wonder if you'd moved on, found someone who deserved you. I traced the table's grain, avoiding his gaze. I did. Or tried. Dated a sculptor in Brooklyn, talented, passionate. Lasted 2 years until he said I was holding back. Like you were this ghost he couldn't compete with. Ethan's jaw clenched, jealousy flickering before he masked it. And Sarah? I shrugged, the ring on my finger suddenly leaden. She's great. Stable. We met at a gallery opening. She curates for a nonprofit. No drama, no heartbreak. That's what I thought I needed. He reached across, hesitating before covering my hand with his, warm, calloused from years gripping briefcases instead of footballs. But is it enough? Alex, we were kids, yeah, but that kiss. It wasn't just prom night stupid. It was real. Heat crept up my neck, the memory vivid, his mouth soft and urgent, the world fading to just us. I'd replayed it 1,000 times, cursing myself for pushing too soon. Maybe, I admitted, pulling back gently. But timing's everything. You had your reasons, I get that now. Doesn't erase the scars. Dawn crept in, painting the sky outside in hesitant pinks as we talked through the night, filling gaps with stories of near misses and what-ifs. He was an agent now, repping queer athletes breaking barriers, a quiet activist who'd marched in Chicago Pride last year with a sign reading, "Love wins, even late." I shared my illustrations, covers for LGBTQ plus memoirs, each stroke a therapy session. Laughter slipped in, tentative, over tales of disastrous blind dates. His with a vegan activist who lectured him on dairy ethics mid-dinner, mine with a poet who rhymed everything, even good night. But as coffee grew cold, reality intruded. My phone buzzed. Sarah, texting good morning with heart emojis, oblivious. Guilt twisted like a knife. I should go, Ethan said, standing, but his eyes pleaded otherwise. Or, let me stay? Just today? Skip the rehearsal, talk to her. We can figure this out. I hesitated, the safe path warring with the wild pull of his presence. Willow Creek echoed in my mind. The lake, the stars, the promise we'd broken. One day, I said finally, voice unsteady. But Ethan, this could destroy everything. He nodded, a small smile breaking through. Worth the risk. For us. By noon, I'd texted Sarah a vague, family emergency. Hating the lie but clinging to the truth it bought me time for. Ethan and I ventured out, wandering the bustling streets of Brooklyn, past brownstones dripping with autumn leaves, coffee shops alive with chatter. We stopped at our old haunt, a hole-in-the-wall diner with vinyl booths scarred by years of secrets. Over pancakes stacked high, he confessed more. The therapy he'd started 2 years ago, unpacking the internalized shame his dad had drilled in. I dated women for cover, but it hollowed me out. Then I saw your exhibit last spring. Those portraits, so raw. Knew I had to face it. The exhibit. Echoes of us. my series on lost connections, inspired by him without naming it. One Piece, a split canvas of two figures reaching but never touching, had sold to a collector who called it heart-wrenching. Ethan had bought the catalog, he said, flipping through it on lonely flights, tracing the lines with his finger. It was like you were screaming for me to come back. Tears pricked my eyes, masked by a sip of syrupy coffee. But I stopped waiting years ago. Afternoon melted into park benches by the East River, wind whipping our coats as ferries churned the water. He talked prejudices he'd faced in the sports world, coaches turning blind eyes to gay players, sponsors dropping endorsements with veiled threats. Makes me fight harder now, he said, arms slung casual over the back of the bench, fingers inches from my shoulder. I shared my own battles, galleries rejecting political work, dates ghosting after I mentioned my past. Prejudice isn't just slurs, it's the quiet erasures, I murmured, watching gulls wheel overhead. As sun dipped low, tension simmered beneath the ease, a magnetic undercurrent, glances lingering too long, accidental touches sparking. Back at my place, we cooked pasta haphazardly, sauce splattering like abstract art, laughter echoing as he twirled noodles on his fork the wrong way. But over wine, his bottle from the car, a bold Chianti, he grew serious. Alex, what if we try? Not as kids hiding, but as men who know the cost. My heart ached, torn between the comfort of tomorrow's vows and the fire of what-ifs reignited. And if it falls apart again? He leaned in, breath warm. Then we grieve. But at least we'd have tried. Night fell soft, city lights twinkling like distant stars. We didn't kiss. Not yet. But as he crashed on my couch, I lay awake, the ring glinting mockingly. Friendship's end had been tears. This reunion? A precipice, thrilling and terrifying. Tomorrow, choices loomed. But for now, his steady breathing was a lullaby, pulling me toward dawn and whatever storm it brought. Morning light sliced through the blinds, jolting me awake to the aroma of brewing coffee and the low hum of my playlist, old indie tracks we'd blasted on those Ohio roads. Ethan was in the kitchen, humming off-key to the National, flipping eggs with a focus that bordered on domestic bliss. He looked up, smiled tentative. Figured you'd need fuel for the war council. I groaned, rubbing sleep from my eyes, the weight of unsent texts to Sarah pressing down. More like execution. She's probably piecing together that I'm dodging. We ate cross-legged on the floor, plates balanced on knees, the casual intimacy a bomb and a burn. Call her. He urged gently, no pressure in his tone. Be honest. You owe her that. His support, selfless where I'd braced for jealousy, cracked something in me. Dialing Sarah felt like stepping off a ledge. Her voice, warm despite the worry, steadied me. Babe? What's going on? I spilled it in fragments. Not the full Ethan saga, but enough. An old friend crashing back, forcing reckonings I'd buried. She listened, pauses heavy, then sighed. Alex, we've built something real. But if you're not all in, I need you to be sure. Tears choked me as we agreed to meet that evening, neutral ground, a quiet bistro in the village. Hanging up, I felt exposed, raw, but lighter. Ethan nodded approval, clearing plates with quiet efficiency. Proud of you. That's the Alex I remember. Brave, even when it hurts. The praise warmed me, but doubts swirled. What if this was nostalgia's cruel trick, dressing up unresolved pain as romance? We spent the day untangling threads. Walks through Washington Square, where buskers strummed folk tunes that tugged at heartstrings. He shared a story from his agency, a young pitcher coming out, facing backlash from teammates. I coached him through it, drew from us. Told him hiding eats you alive. I countered with my latest project, a graphic novel on queer invisibility in small towns, characters echoing our younger selves. It's cathartic, I admitted, sketching idly on a napkin, a quick outline of two figures under stars. He watched, mesmerized, then added a line, our hands brushing. By late afternoon, tension coiled tight. What if she hates me? I voiced the fear aloud, pacing the living room. Ethan pulled me to the couch, his touch grounding. She might, but truth's the only way forward. For all of us. His eyes held mine, vulnerability mirroring my own. The boy who'd run, now the man offering anchor. Gratitude swelled, complicated by that pull, the air between us humming. I leaned in, foreheads touching, breath sinking. Thank you, I whispered. He smiled soft. Always. The bistro was dimly lit, candles flickering on checkered cloths, the scent of garlic and wine a deceptive comfort. Sarah arrived punctual, elegant in a wrap dress, her dark curls framing a face schooled neutral. Hugs exchanged awkwardly. We ordered salads neither touched. So, she started, folding napkin precise, this old friend. How old exactly? I laid it out. Willow Creek, the bond, the rupture, Ethan's midnight arrival stirring sediments I'd thought settled. Her expression shifted, hurt flickering to understanding, then resolve. Alex, I knew there was a part of you walled off. The sketches in your studio, the way you'd trail off mid-story about home. I thought time would open it. Tears welled in her eyes, and guilt knifed me. I love you, she said firmly. But not the half version. If he's the key to whole you, then go find it. Relief warred with devastation. Her grace made the end sharper. We cried quietly, hands clasped across the table, toasting to new chapters with untouched wine. Outside, under street lamps casting halos, she hugged me fierce. Be happy, artist boy, and send me the book when it's done. Walking away, her silhouette fading, I felt unmoored, free, but adrift in the vast what next. Back home, Ethan waited, pacing like a caged wolf. How'd it go? One look at my face, and he enveloped me, arms solid, chin resting atop my head. I'm sorry, he murmured into my hair. But, proud. Again, we sank onto the couch, me curled against him, the dam breaking in sobs that shook us both. He held me through it, whispering nonsense comforts. You're okay. We've got this. Until exhaustion claimed me, sleep a merciful veil. I woke to quiet, Ethan sketching by lamplight, my face on the page, tender lines capturing the vulnerability I'd hidden. Couldn't sleep, he explained, setting pencil aside. Dawn was breaking, a new day pregnant with possibility. What now? I asked, voice thick. He took my hand, thumb tracing knuckles. We start slow. Date, like normal people. No running this time. Laughter bubbled up, absurd and healing. Normal? Us. But the idea rooted, tentative bloom. Weeks blurred into a rhythm both novel and nostalgic. Brunches in hidden cafes, gallery hops where he'd feign expertise on my favorites, earning eye rolls and kisses, chased at first, then deeper, rediscovering in stolen moments. One rainy Saturday, we recreated the quarry in Central Park's lake, skipping stones till our hands cramped, laughing as ripples distorted reflections. Remember the promise? He asked, arm around my waist. Always this. I nodded, leaning in, our kiss salt-tanged and sure, no headlights to interrupt. But harmony bred undercurrents. My mom called from Ohio, voice-laced worry. Heard rumors from town. Ethan's back in your life? After all that. Prejudice lingered in her cautions, echoes of Willow Creek's judgments. Mijo, hearts heal, but some cut scar. I defended us, but doubt seeded. What if she was right? Ethan faced his own ghosts. A work trip to Columbus unearthed his father's grave. A terse visit to his mom's trailer where she admitted he regretted it at the end. The disowning. Tears in her eyes mirrored his. A fragile bridge rebuilt over shared grief. Conflict crested at a pride event in June. Rainbow flags snapping in wind as we marched, hands linked defiant. A counter-protester's slur, sick freaks. Hit like shrapnel, Ethan's grip tightening white-knuckled. Later, in a bar pulsing with celebration, he snapped at a well-meaning friend probing our origin story. It's not a fairy tale. It's messy as hell. Hurt flared. I retreated to the alley for air, chest tight. He followed, apologetic. I'm scared, Alex. Of losing you again. Makes me lash out. Vulnerability cracked us open, leading to raw talks on stoops till stars wheeled, admitting fears of inadequacy, of patterns repeating. Through it, friendships wove support. My roommate Lila, a fiery lesbian comic, grilled Ethan over tacos. Heard him, and I'll bury you in punchlines. Then warmed, sharing her own reunion tale. His Chicago buddy, Marcus, visited, a burly ex-lineman turned therapist, affirming our pace. Growth's nonlinear, boys. Celebrate the stumbles. By summer's end, we'd navigated the chasm's edge, emerging scarred but stronger. One August night, rooftop under meteor shower, Ethan pulled a small box, not ring, but key. To my place in Chicago. If you want. No pressure. Tears pricked. This was trust rebuilt, brick by deliberate brick. Maybe visits first, I countered, grinning. Build to it. He kissed me slow, stars raining approval. Yet surprises lurked. A letter arrived from Sarah, forged in therapy, she wrote, wishing joy, enclosing a sketch I'd gifted her. Two paths converging. Turns out, love's not zero-sum. Healing rippled outward, prejudices softening in light of chosen family. As leaves turned, so did we, toward a future tentative, Tinder. Our friendships in had been tears. This middle? A canvas half-painted, strokes of conflict yielding to color. In the end? Well, that was ours to write. The harmony shattered 2 months in, over an innocuous weekend in Chicago, his turf, my test. The city thrummed with lake wind and jazz notes as he showed me his world. Sleek office overlooking the Loop, where he championed talents like Jamie Ruiz, the first openly gay MLB prospect. Pride swelled watching him mentor, but unease stirred at mentions of the team, colleagues who knew him as the straight-laced closer, post-breakup from his last beard girlfriend. Dinner at his loft, skyline glittering, turned pivot. His phone buzzed, a text from his mom. Your father's old coach called. Said town's talking about you too. Careful, son. Ethan's face shuddered, fork pausing midair. Ignore it, I said lightly, but he set it down, voice tight. Easy for you. Brooklyn's a bubble. Here, it's still 76. The old wound reopened, his fear palpable. Career online if clients balked at distractions. I pushed back, hurt masking anger. So what? Hide again. I'm not your secret, Ethan. Words escalated, voices rising over clinking glasses. You don't get it, he shot. I built this from nothing, after Dad. One scandal and poof. Scandal? That's us you're calling. I stormed out, hailing a cab to a hotel, heart pounding with déjà vu alone in sterile sheets. I scrolled old photos, tears blurring the grins. Was history rhyming or repeating? Morning brought regrets hangover. His texts flooded. Apologies, pleased to talk. I met him at the lakefront, wind whipping resolve. I panicked, he admitted, eyes red-rimmed. Old habits. But you're right, hiding's poison. Reconciliation was tear-streaked, hugs fierce against chill, vowing transparency. Coming out at work, slow but steady. But surprise twisted the knife. Back in New York, Lila pulled me aside post-rehearsal for my graphic novel launch. Babe, check this. A tabloid scan. Blurry photo of Ethan with a woman at a gala. Arm around her, laughs captured mid-frame. Caption, Agent Hale's mystery muse. Heart plummeted. Who'd snapped it? His client event, platonic, but optics screamed betrayal. Confrontation exploded that night, me waving the printout, him paling. It's Jamie's sister, networking. Nothing, then why the secrecy? Misunderstanding festered, my insecurities roaring. Not enough, always second. He proved it, calling her on speaker, casual chat, zero spark, then drove to Willow Creek unannounced, dragging me along for confrontation's sake. Town unchanged, diner booths sagging, fields whispering. His mom's porch swing creaked as she served pie, eyes kind but cautious. Heard the gossip, she said softly. Your dad's coach? Still bitter about Ethan quitting after. Well, revelation hit. The coach had spread rumors back then, fueling the fallout. Not just Ethan's dad. Closure washed bittersweet. We visited the grave, Ethan murmuring, I chose me. Finally, high climax brewed at my launch party, gallery packed, illustrations glowing under spots. Ethan arrived, suit sharp, but whispers followed, a rival agent cornering him, deals slipping over personal drama. Panic flashed, he pulled me to the back room, voice breaking. They're using us against me. Offers tanking. Conflict peaked, my career soaring, his crumbling. Walk away if it's too much, I offered, noble eye cracking. Never, he growled, kissing me fierce, uncaring of knocks on door. Twist, the rival was ex-mentor, harboring grudge from Ethan's coming out. Jamie Ruiz crashed the after-party, outing the sabotage publicly. Ethan's family, back off. Media spun positive, deals rebounded, prejudices cracked under spotlights. Through tears and triumphs, we grew. Therapy joint, boundaries drawn. Climax resolved in quiet. New Year's, rooftop toast. To us, he said, rings simple. Promise, not chain. No more endings. I smiled whole. Just beginnings.